Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look at Telefantasy on Britbox. So Britbox, in case you don't know, is the brand new British streaming service, similar to sort of Netflix, but it's a combination of BBC ITV, Channel 4 and Channel 5 programmes, and they've just launched a whole new raft of British Telefantasy programmes on top of what was already there. So I'm sure you're aware that they had lots and lots of classic Doctor Who on there, but they've now added some Gerry Anderson programmes and some other bits and bobs as well. And that is what we're going to be taking a look at today, because there's some cool stuff on there. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so here's the main Britbox interface, and as you can see, it is decidedly difficult to actually find stuff that you might be interested in. Here's a great series here. First of all, early Christopher Eccleston and Daniel Craig, Our Friends in the North. A great little drama there. And then, as you can see, there isn't like a sort of a science fiction or telefantasy series or link even. This classic 70s sitcom here, The Good Life. And these older series are sort of sprinkled about within the Britbox interface, but it doesn't actually give, there isn't like a dedicated section for it. As you can see, it's all sort of mixed in together, which is not ideal when you're actually trying to find stuff. But there is good stuff in here, well, as we go along, as I come across stuff, I will sort of point it out and highlight what I think might be worth your time, amongst all the recent stuff that's in there as well, because there is quite a lot that is included from the last couple of years, which seems a bit of a rip-off. There's definitely lots of classic Coronation Street there, right back to 1960. That's pretty cool. Obviously, the jewel in the Britbox crown is Doctor Who, and there's an awful lot of Doctor Who on there. In fact, I believe all the complete classic series is on there in order, broken down by season. Even the pilot episode there, which is a nice touch. It's even got some of the stuff that's only just come out on Blu-ray. This is a clip here from the Macra Terror, the colorized version, which was on a Blu-ray recently. So, even the most recent stuff is included, which I think is absolutely fantastic. That's really, really good. And this was also another nice touch. Even some of the episodes that don't exist in their complete form are included here, which is great. But Doctor Who's been on there since launch, and although you don't get all the extras, here's some of the missing episode stories. Even though you don't get all the extras that you would get on the Blu-rays, if you're just into the Doctor Who, just for watching the stories, what a perfect way to have them in your pocket or on your tablet, all there ready for action. Now, this was the first sort of new thing that they've added recently, which was Thunderbirds and some Gerry Anderson stuff. So there's a nice hour-long documentary all about Thunderbirds, which is actually really informative. And then you jump into the actual Thunderbird section, and there I was expecting all the episodes, and unfortunately not. It's like the best 10 that they've selected, and they are 10 very, very good episodes, don't get me wrong. But it's just a shame that in all the advertising, you see, box sets, binge on a box set, binge on a box set. The whole season isn't there. This is just like selected episodes. There's also single episodes from other Gerry Anderson series. That was the first episode of Fireball XL5 is included, but just the first one. The very first episode of Stingray, once again, just the first one. SUPERCAR, another early Gerry Anderson series. Joe 90 there, same thing, just the first episode. And it's almost like, I don't know whether there's Captain Scarlet, whether they're actually just sort of testing the market to see how many people watch that first Captain Scarlet episode and are maybe hungry for more, possibly, to see which one they want to do next. I don't know. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but it's a bit of a shame that they've teased us with some of this, yet there's so much more that we could see if we were lucky, and if they were thinking of doing it. This is quite nice. There's some classic British movies. This is the 39 Steps, the 1930s Alfred Hitchcock one, and there's 4 classic Alfred Hitchcock movies in there, which have been restored, and they're really, really nice to see those. Certainly a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock. And there's some other British movies as well, some classic stuff in there. Not perhaps the selection, it's not like hundreds and hundreds of films. You'll see the same sort of movies here. The icons keep repeating themselves, and that's because beyond what you see here, it looks a lot, but in actual fact the selection is not massive. But there are some little gems here. This is the Morecambe and Wise film, that Riviera Touch. That's not bad. Glad to see the Porridge movie on there. That's another great sort of fun film. And being the BBC, of course, they do also have all 3 series of the Porridge TV show and the specials, but sadly not going straight, which would have really set the series off, or even the pilot, Prisoner and Escort. One bit of Telefantasy being added recently, Time Slip. So sadly, once again, just the black and white season 1, and it's a shame they haven't put season 2 on, which is in colour. And then a similar sort of treatment to Thunderbirds, just the first episode of Catweasel. An odd 70s film, Bugsy Malone. Not sure what this one's doing here. Don't get me wrong, it's a great Alan Parker film. Very young Jodie Foster there. I think she was 13 at the time when she filmed this. Great film, which I enjoyed when I was a kid. The Carry On films. So there's a nice selection of Carry On films. So I had a look. I looked at Carry On, and at first glance I thought, oh, brilliant, it's all the colour Carry Ons are there, but once again, in actual fact, it's not. So it was like missing Carry On Screaming, Carry On Emmanuel was missing. There was a few just not there. Carry On Convenience was there, which is actually my all-time favourite Carry On. But once a shame, I don't understand why they've just got a selection and not all of them. Not a single black and white either. And there's some great black and white ones as well. Then there's some sort of 80s stuff. So this was a series I didn't watch at all, Children's Ward. I think it was fairly popular at the time. There's some quite big name guest stars included. In a similar vein was Press Gang, with a young Dexter Fletcher and Julia Swahala. And the first full season of that is included as well. A few recognisable faces in that one. Remember a bit about that at the time, but didn't really watch it religiously. And then in a similar vein, there's like odd episodes of series like Puddle Lane, Munch Bunch, some real youngsters stuff. Murphy's Mob was quite popular, but once again, sadly, just the first episode. Now, thankfully, there is, not for the movies, but at least for the TV series, there is actually an A to Z. So here we are scrolling through the A to Z of all the series, and you might spot some stuff that you think, oh, actually that was pretty good, I wouldn't mind rewatching that. And don't get me wrong, there is some good stuff here. There's some great comedy, Blackadder, there's some British dramas, Boys from the Black stuff, it's early 80s, Brideshead Revisited. So there is stuff here amongst the older stuff. All the Cool, the Midwife. Looking through here, Cilla Black docudrama, that wasn't bad. There's the modern remake of Colditz, but where's the 1970s series? That would be fantastic, along with Secret Army and Tenko. Surprised they're not on here. Obviously, all the Doctor Who's are there, which is really good. There is some documentaries, and this is a little half-hour look at the first 7 Doctors. Each one's, I think, 25 minutes long. Talking heads on each Doctor's era, which is quite nice to have. Obviously, lots of things you would expect to find on here. They've been doing the rounds on streaming services for a long time, but it's stuff that hasn't really been available, like the Gerry Anderson stuff, that gets me excited. Great for comedy, you can't deny that. There's a lot of decent comedy on here from that sort of era. French and Saunders, The Young Ones, Smack the Pony, some good stuff on here. The Goodnight Mr. Tom, that's another great little drama with John Thor. There's the Hattie Jakes docudrama, very, very good, that one, if you've never seen it, sort of looking at the life of Hattie Jakes. all the Inspector Morse. I do like the original ones with John Thor, Jonathan Creeks. They weren't too bad. Keeping Up Appearances, all the early Harry Enfield show. Certainly there is a lot there, but I still think there could be more. You know, it's just I'm not being greedy. It's just, you know, we want a bit more, and I think if you're paying for a subscription, you want a decent selection. This is quite good with Anna Frail, a more modern series, but it's gone under a lot of people's radar, and that's Marcella. Also co-stars Jamie Bamber from Babylon 5 for the Telefantasy interest. So we're only on the M's here. There's stacks of ITV dramas which have not been included. There's no ITC stuff, so, you know, Persuaders, Protectors, Man in a Suitcase, Champions. The Avengers I'd love to see on here, but there isn't any of that. New Avengers, The Professionals, The Sweeney. There's stacks of it which is missing. And I only hope, it is a new service, it's only been around just a couple of months, and I just hope that, you know, there's more stuff to come. Here's the first 8 seasons of Red Dwarf, which is what the BBC own. After that, of course, it's been produced by Channel Dave. The Secret Diary of a Call Girl there with Billie Piper. There's all the Smack the Ponies. There's Open All Hours and Still Open All Hours. They got the 7-Up collection there. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. And there was 7 people who they filmed their lives at 7-year intervals. So they're up to, the last time they did it, the people involved were 63. So they'd done it every 7 years in their life. Very good and interesting series to see how those lives have turned out. There's all the Darling Buds of May. The Frankenstein Chronicles, that was very good. League of Gentlemen. Lots of David Attenborough. Lives and Loves of a She-Devil, with a great turn by Tom Baker in there, so that's worth a look if you've never seen it. Thick of It with Peter Capaldi, also another great series. All the Vicars of Dibley are included. Some early Alan Partridge, but not all of it again. Some Top Gear, but there's loads of early stuff. The Tracy Ullman Show, but that's the modern stuff, alas, not the earlier stuff. There's all of Upstairs Downstairs, and that is quite an old series, but very well remembered. All the early Victoria Wood is there, which is quite nice to see. And Yes, Prime Minister. So there you go. So, one last thing, yeah, The World in Action. So that's quite a good. They picked like highlighted episodes. There's a particularly good one from 1967. Where they interview Mick Jagger, there he is there, about the sort of drugs and counterculture of the period, which is fascinating. And it's good that they include that sort of stuff as well as just the series. So yes, definitely a very good series, and I would recommend Britbox, but let's hope that there's more stuff to come soon. If you have enjoyed today's video, don't forget to subscribe and do leave a like down below. Thank you for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.